Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Political risk. One down in the UK, one to go Sunday in France. But there's plenty of economic impact that's currently occurring in Europe as well, amid what has been a very political narrative. We want to dovetail both together. We can do that over in Aix-en-Provence, the economic conference. Paschal Donohoe is the Eurogroup president. He's sitting down with our one and only Connan. Take it away.
There's not a lot of political figures here in Aix-en-Provence this year, but we do have Paschal Donohoe, the Eurogroup president, who's joining me now from Aix. Very nice to be with you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on your program.
First, let's actually discuss these comments from German Lindner, the German finance minister, who was saying it may actually be illegal for the ECB to intervene if there's political turmoil in France. What's your reaction to this?
Well, the ECB always act inside their legal mandate. They have in the past, they will in the future. And the ECB monitor, as we do, what is happening in financial markets. But the financial markets at the moment are clearly stable. The French economy, from a debt and borrowing point of view, is still stable as well. And I know the ECB will both monitor the situation and always be inside their mandate, as they have clearly demonstrated in recent years.
So do you disagree with these comments? Were they out of place?
Oh, I can understand why Minister Lindner made those points. He is, of course, monitoring what is happening within France. He's monitoring the debate that's underway from a public spending point of view. But as president of the Eurogroup, I'm aware of the need to take a perspective of what is happening in France, but also to recognise that our institutions have very clear mandates that they live within. And the ECB, whether it be with regard to France or any other element of the euro area, are absolutely clear about what their mandate is and always and have always operated within it. And I'm confident will continue to do so in the future.
So do you think France's political difficulties will actually create any issues with the ECB?
Well, I'm very much aware that there's an election that's just about to conclude in France. So I don't want to prejudge what will happen here in France, particularly as the people go to make their final decision here on Sunday. But do allow me to make a general point. And the general point is that we all have a responsibility to manage our public finances carefully and safely. That has happened here in France in the past. And the maintenance of that approach is ultimately what allows our economies to grow again and what ultimately would also allow incomes and living standards to increase at a time in which we're still dealing with the effect of soaring inflation.
Obviously, you've been president of the Eurogroup for many years. You are a counterpart of Bruno Le Maire, the French finance minister, who's been the French finance minister for 7 years since Macron's first election, providing a lot of stability, obviously, in terms of the relationship with EU partners. How do you think that's going to change going forward?
Well, I have to say that Minister Le Maire has been an exceptional colleague. He has led the French economy through so many great difficulties, but I also see him as a leader of Europe. And the difference that he has made at really important moments within the Eurogroup has been immense. And I've really valued my friendship with him and wish him the best in the future.
Are we facing a Liz Truss moment, a debt crisis potentially in France, like Bruno Le Maire has been warning?
Well, again, just allow me to make the general point that we have learned that when domestic decisions are made, financial markets can respond back quickly. And the general clear learning that we have in recent years is about the importance of maintaining market confidence and the importance of maintaining confidence in your future spending and taxation plans. And all governments are aware of that, whether that be the Irish government that I'm a member of, or I'm sure any other government that will be elected.
Obviously, there is an outright majority of the National Rally in France. There is Jordan Bardella, who might become Prime Minister next week. Do you feel some clashes with the EU on fiscal rules as soon as this fall?
Well, I think we should just let the election conclude and allow the French Parliament to form the next government. That's very much a matter for them. And I'm not going to comment at this point on what is still obviously a domestic political choice. But again, I'll make the very broad point that cooperation between the Commission and Member States is a really important ingredient in continuing to maintain stability of the euro area and all the members of the euro area. And France has been a really important partner in that approach over the entire history of the euro. I look forward to working with the next French government. I look forward to working closely with future finance ministers of France and doing all I can to make the case for this approach to our public finances and the value of the stability of the euro. And I look forward to a good working and personal relationship with whoever that minister will be.
But, for example, Jordan Bardella has said he wants to cut French contributions to the EU budget by 3 billion euros in order to finance some domestic proposals. Is that even possible?
But these are the kind of comments that all kinds of different governments make before negotiations begin on the next EU budget. And I'm certain that you will hear many other governments make points regarding them wanting to reduce their contribution to the EU budget or looking for more from the EU budget. So again, let's just allow a new French government to be formed, and myself and all colleagues within the European Union look forward to doing our best to having a warm and cooperative relationship with them. But let's let the election conclude.
It seems like the relationship with Giorgia Meloni, for example, in Italy, has improved. Do you think Marine Le Pen can be compared to Giorgia Meloni, or is she much more anti-EU?
Well, I mean, I think the experience of Prime Minister Meloni in many ways is instructive for the discussion that we will be having here in the future. Prime Minister Meloni has came into office and made some very, very important and I believe right decisions on behalf of Italy, on behalf of Europe. And we have a very constructive economic relationship with Minister Giancarlo Giorgetti, her finance minister. So that is another reason why I am reminded of the value of letting the election come to an end, and when the government is appointed, hearing from them and doing all we can to have a good cooperative relationship.
One quick question on the UK, because obviously we had this stellar victory by the Labour Party with Keir Starmer. Do you think this also has links to what we're seeing in France? Basically, this Labour victory as a signal of, anger after 8 years of consequences of Brexit?
So I think that is definitely an interpretation of it, that the promises that were made with regard to Brexit, many of them in the eyes, I think, of British people have not happened in the way they would have expected. But I'd actually interpret it in a more positive and optimistic way, which is that we are seeing the British government, the British people, make the decision to elect a stable and centrist government. With the majority the Labour government will have, with the kind of people that are leading it, it appears to me the British people have said we want stability, we want competence, and we want a government that can lead the UK for the next 5 years. And I think that's a very positive signal, while of course on a personal level, I wish all the members of the outgoing government the best for their futures.
Finally, one really quick question on Ireland. The Ministry of Finance actually just moved the date of your budget to October 1st. Does that mean we are likely to see elections in Ireland this year?
I'm afraid to disappoint you and tell you the answer to that question is no. I expect the next general election in Ireland will be March of next year, at the end of our mandate, at the end of our parliamentary term. The only reason the budget was changed by a week is we have the Eurogroup and ECOFIN meeting happening in the second week of October, and I can't be in Dublin and Brussels at the same time. So it was changed for that reason and that reason only.
Many political battles to juggle. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Paschal Donohoe, the Eurogroup president, live from this economic conference in Aix-en-Provence.